All right, in my opinion, the church is too focused on the age group and dividing them by ages. That could be effective in educational wise and teaching technique wise, but I think it's also important to teach them in their own level. But I think family need to come to worship together and listen to the sermon together so that they can have a faith talk and while parents explaining the sermon to their kids and they will feel more responsibility on their spiritual and in their spiritually. Of course, parent discipline needs to come together so that the church need to provide them like the program and then keep keep telling them that they have a big responsibility on their kids' spiritual life.
I agree with Susanna. I think having kids, adults, all ages come together for worship is so important. And I also agree that having age group ministry is important as well, especially when it comes to the kids and the youth. Having teaching that is on their level is vital to that spiritual development at that age. But I also think that the parents play a huge role in their kids' spiritual development, and there, as we see in scripture, parents are the primary influences on their kids. And so if they're not actively discipling their kids outside of the church setting, then their kids probably aren't going to get it from the church either. And so one thing I found that seems to be helpful for blending the different age groups would be, adults included, would be all ministries following along the same type of teaching. So for example, whatever the adults are learning in their groups, the youth are learning the same exact thing just on a youth age level. And then whatever the adults and youth are learning, the kids are also learning just on a kid's age level. So they're all on the same page. And that way the parents are learning the exact same thing as their kids, which provides a perfect opportunity for families to discuss it throughout the week and for it to be followed up on and reinforced at home by the parents, giving them a platform to disciple their kids.
Yes, as we discussed, that we might want parents and their children to attend the service, a sermon service together, because we don't want division or separation or like age separation, like isolation. That was the word I was thinking of. But yes, I am also an advocate of age group ministries, like the pie chart Dr. Ross drew in class. That ideally we might want to spend church's time and efforts like one third to the age groups, and like one third time and efforts cooperating with the parents. I think that as long as our age group ministries promote like parents' authority. We respect the parents. We teach the children to respect their parents' authorities, and definitely encourage them to pray with their parents, and for example like share what they learn at church with their parents, like Jordy said, so the parents can be on the same page with the teachers at church. Then we do a better job working with the parents. And also, I thought of this something interesting that I thought when I work with children age under 5, I sometimes even use baby talk. But when I work with the teenagers, oh, I respect them almost as my teachers, because they can teach me how to use the latest technology and share the latest news that I might really not be aware of. Thank you.
So in my opinion, I also think that it's important to keep the age group ministry in the church. However, I have a few thoughts to keep it more efficient at the church and also impacting the home as well. The first, um, I think the group age ministry, they never loses the focus on the training for the parents. So they should spend their money or the effort, whatever, to make sure they have the resources available for the parents so that they can do their spiritual responsibilities for their children during their weekdays. And number two, I think they need to provide the opportunities for families to have a corporate worship service and also community service together at the church, like on regular basis, so that the kids can watch how their parents do worship and serve the community and vice versa. And lastly, I think they should promote the families to go on the mission trip, together, with the church at least once a year.
Yeah, I believe the same thing. I believe that there should be a children's ministry and a student ministry, but I believe as well that there needs to be a corporate time together as family and children gathered together to worship the Lord, at least once a month. That they begin to watch the parents worship and also study the Word together. But I also believe that there has to be accountability to also the ministries with the parents. That the parents are searching to make sure that their children are being taught as well, because I think that sometimes there's not enough accountability, and that's allowing the parents to also be more part of the ministry itself, instead of saying my children will go here and I'll go here, and then when we get back together we'll never talk about it. And I think that there has to be a deeper discipleship with parents, because the reason parents don't disciple their children is because they don't feel that they're adequate enough. So I feel like the churches first have to reach the parents to be able to reach the children. So I think it's a double-edged sword where you want to help both sides come closer together to the Lord so that they can have an ideal blend, as well as, like I was talking about earlier, parent-teacher conference in some capacity, sitting down with each parent that has their children and saying, we are walking together to minister to your child and to you, and how can we serve you better? And allowing the parents to know that they're not alone in that is key and essential. So